Hey everybody, welcome to the Great Lakes Divide live stream. I'm your host, Adam Biggers. You can follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81 and follow Great Lakes Divide on Facebook and Twitter at GLDivide, and that's GreatLakesDivide.com. Big news on the way, really excited, kind of sitting on it. I'll have a major announcement regarding the website, Great Lakes Divide, myself, my partner Ryan Schuling, who does an excellent job of covering Michigan State. He's actually going to come with me to Notre Dame, so we're going to kind of tandem coverage Michigan versus Notre Dame because that's a little bit bigger of a game, I think, than Michigan State and Utah State, I believe. I didn't even look at their schedule. Anyway, thanks for joining me. For those of you who watch this stream on a regular basis, you know what it's about. You ask me questions. I tell you about the availability, if there was one that day, and whatever else is on my mind and what's on your guys' mind in regard to Michigan football. So before we get started, I want to tweet out the live link. We're going to discuss, obviously, Tarik Black. That's the big news, right? Tarik Black is the big news. So we're going to discuss Tarik. I was able to talk with Ben Bredesen a little bit. I was able to speak with Devin Bush and Tyreek Kennel. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to get to Grant Perry. There was a huge crowd around him, so I don't know what Grant said. So don't ask me anything about what Grant said today because I haven't watched the video. So I'll watch a video. Someone I'm sure posted it, but I got two 10-minute videos with 10 minutes with Devin Bush, 10 minutes with Ben Bredesen, and I don't know, about 4 or 5 minutes with Tyreek Kennel. So we have limited time, and I wanted to diving into a story about Tarik Black that I'm going to put in the chat here in a second, so that way you guys get the link. And Brett R's in here. He says hello. Brett, you're the lone guy in here right now. Hold on. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, tweet this live link, and we'll get the show on the road. Got a really good question, and I don't know who this is. I want to start with this one because I don't know who he or she or it. I don't know what they call themselves out there in space, but Jerk Zeus Zark Noctu is an alien. He's on Twitter, and I don't know who it is. But anyway, I'm just going to assume it's an alien who really likes college football and pays attention to Michigan. If you get a chance, follow Jerk Zeus. It's at Jerk Zeus, Jurkzeuss. He's been following me for some years now. I think between his little interplanetary voyages, he tries to catch up. So he's got a really good question, and I don't have an answer for this. So we're going to keep it to availability topics today, but I want to address this. He says, Urban Meyer is getting raked for not alerting the compliance department about Zach Smith's domestic violence issues with his wife. Lots of Ohio State fans are saying it's a domestic issue that doesn't involve Urban. What about Michigan? Is Harbaugh under similar requirements? And I would expand this question to every college football coach in America, every coach of every university. It's a great question. I do not have an answer for it, and I don't want to speculate. It is something, though, that I think is worth asking Jim Harbaugh in the future in terms of their protocol and the way that they handle if there were to be a situation identical or similar to this at Michigan. And I'm not saying there will be, but you never know. Things like this can happen anywhere. So it's a thought-provoking question. It's an interesting question. So thanks, Jerk Zeus. I appreciate it. Jerk Zeus says he, she, it. I don't know what Jerk Zeus goes by. Will be hovering over South Bend, Indiana this Saturday watching Michigan and Notre Dame. So for what it's worth, so not only was the last live stream was international, we had Germany and South Africa, and we have Jerk Zeus Zark Noctu, who's from where in the hell, I don't know where Jerky's from, so he's never told me. So let's get it going real quick, guys. I'm gonna put the link in here. I gotta do some self promotion. Read this piece on Tarik Black. I don't want to give it away. I'm sure your guys' questions. We'll talk about some of it. But where does Michigan go on after Tarik Black's injury? I asked Jim Harbaugh if he was concerned about Tarik's immediate future in college football. and having the fracture in his left foot last year against Air Force, and then having a fracture in his right foot this year, just 6 days before the Notre Dame game. It's just it's a head scratcher. It really is. And Devin Bush said that he felt, you could tell that in the videos on here. I have the interviews with Devin, Bredesen, and Tarik. You could tell that Devin was, just the look in his eyes. These guys feel really bad about Tarik Black. And if you've ever played, I mean, just take it out of sports context, your friend. I mean, you see someone working really hard toward a goal, and they just keep getting these setbacks after setbacks that aren't anything to do with what they're doing. They're doing everything right, but yet they can't catch a break. And that's kind of the deal with Tarik Black. So read this piece. I put the link in here. I'm going to get here to the roll call here. Brett R., he was first. He said, hello. Iron Cross says he's here. Iron Cross, been a long time. Chad Hankins, hello. R word 616, present and go blue. That goes with the roll call. I like that R word. Thank you. Mike Zabrowski. So be honest, is Gary playing this week? I'll get to that, Mike. I can't tell you for sure, but I could tell you that the injury wasn't, it's not an injury, and it's not anywhere to the extent that certain people want to make it out to be. It's equivalent to a shoulder ding. He was suited up for the practice Sunday yesterday. I wasn't there, but I was told he suited up for that. We didn't really talk about Rashawn today, but I have from a source. If I tweet it, then I've confirmed it. It is not major, and that's all I can tell you. As far as his playing status against Notre Dame, I don't know, but by the sound of it, it doesn't sound like it's gonna. My best guess would be it doesn't sound like something that's going to keep him out of the game. If it's that minor, it's not even an injury. And someone on Twitter asked me this, and I likened it to, okay, I'm walking in my living room, I bump my knee on the corner of the table. Am I hurt? Well, yeah, I hurt because I'm in pain. Am I injured? Well, no, because when I think of an injury, I think of a break, a sprain, a tear. This is just a bruise. So that's the way I'm looking at it. Iron Cross says Collins about who, in regard to Tarik Black. Nico had a fantastic camp, guys. If you follow me on Twitter, at AdamBiggers81, so did Oliver Martin. I tweeted that a little bit ago. But Nico can go get the rock, says Devin Bush, and has been catching everything, according to Ben Bredesen. So I outlined that in the piece. Go ahead and read it. Sean Hull says, what's up, Adam? Aaron Quinney's in the room. He says, hail. Cody Voiles, feel for Tarik, man. That kid just can't catch a break, but I'm pumped up to watch Nico. It's really unfortunate, Cody. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. And especially, Devin was telling me how Tarik could, just extra everything, extra weight training, just extra attention to everything, getting ready. And we just talked to Tarik, and he couldn't contain his excitement. He comes across kind of a calm guy. He's not going to be, too animated and everything. But he was smiling just ear to ear, saying he can't wait, he can't wait, he can't wait. And then this happened. So, yeah, I mean, if you're human, you got to feel bad for the kid, right? I mean, take away the fandom and all that stuff. It's a guy who has been working really hard to achieve his goal, and yet, like I said, things that are out of his control. It's not like he's causing the problem. The problem's coming to him out of nowhere. So that's the way I'm looking at the situation, and we will, continue to monitor it. He'll be out for some weeks. Jim Harbaugh said there's no confirmed timetable. I can tell you this, that he injured himself running routes. Now, Michigan would not get. I spoke to a couple of Michigan spokespeople after the press conference. They wouldn't further elaborate on the situation, whether it's 7-on-7, whether it's contact, the setting of it. But I know for a fact that it was, and Devin confirmed this, that it was while he was running routes. So that's the only fact in regard to how Tarik Black got injured. The only confirmed fact. Sean Hull says nothing but positive news about Nico. Sam Wilson, how is Bell looking? Ronnie's done well in camp too. Yep, Bell is a slot guy. Yes, it has, Adam. Iron Cross, I don't know what that means. What's that in reply to? OG Dale Doback says, what's up, Adam? Hey, OG Dale. Iron Cross, I want to see Luigi. Yes. And it's with a J. You're spelling it like Mario and Luigi. He spells it Luiji. Honest mistake. Just letting you know. Alan Pinkney says he has glass feet. Well, Alan, that's kind of I don't know where you're coming from with that comment. I mean, that's just showing up now. It's not, he doesn't have a history of it. And I mean, I don't know, when I see comments like that, it's like, I mean, are they joking, or, you know, are you slamming the guy? It's not Tarik Black's fault. I just feel like that's kind of a poor angle, if that is your angle. Alan Pinkney says, what the hell are they doing in practice? I could say, and I asked Ben Bredesen, and this is not a tie-in. I don't know if Tarik was injured during contact or not, so I'm not saying that at all, but it has been a physical practice. These guys are going harder than they have under Jim Harbaugh. I mean, it is clear. It's been very physical and relentless, to the point where they're tired of it. They're tired. Devin Bush said he was tired of hitting Ben Bredesen. He couldn't count how many times in camp that he's gone one-on-one and how many times they've collided. So, Sean Hull says hopefully he's back for the MSU game. Ben Laguerre, is it Laguerre? Help me out here. Or Brian, sorry. Brian Laguerre. The physical changes yesterday were very noticeable. Gentry looked like a freak. Gentry's huge. We'll talk to Zach tomorrow. Chad Hankins says, can't wait to watch Devin Bush hit something. Alan Pinkney says, no disrespect to Tarik. Okay. I'm used to, because with comments, Alan, and I wasn't going after you. A lot of people, you know, when they make, you know, a comment like that, it's real easy for people to sit behind a keyboard or on their phone and just throw jabs at these guys on Twitter. And this guy sucks. He's a bust. He's you know, he's made of glass. You know, yada 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 yada. It's real easy for all of us to sit around and say that. So I'm used to, you know, people coming from that angle. So sorry, Alan. Iron Cross says, can't wait to see Wimbush on his back. Matthew Aldridge says, can Runyon and JBB get it done? That's my only question mark right now. Blind faith that Shea is going to come out and make a name for himself. From K. Bagley. K. Bagley, I asked Ben Bredesen. He said it could. Offensive line, I asked him about the line of communication, just the overall feel with the quarterback, and he says it is it's far advanced than what it was at this point last year. Aaron Quinney says, damn, is that my internet or yours, Adam? A lot of buffering. Anybody else experiencing that? Mine's clear. No problem. Wes Weber Jr. says, hello, hello, Wes. Be using this soon, Wes. Don't worry. Everybody, Wes Weber sent this to me last season. Fantastic, Mike. Take a look at it. Very kind of him to do so. Appreciate that. And like I said, big news and coming up in regard to the site, myself and my partner Ryan Schuling. So that you're going to kind of see an upgrade with everything. And I'll be able to finally use that really good mic from Wes instead of talking directly at my phone. So, Cody Voyle says it's clear. Kay Bagley, can you give us a guess on the score Saturday? Kay, for my game predictions, I always wait until the Friday podcast, but why not? You asked nicely. I think it's a close game. It's defensive. I'm going 20-17. 2017, 21-17. I'm locked in on that. But you did not ask me who I think is going to win. Wes Weber says, Mr. Spots this year, working on it. I actually talked to Tim and Keith at Spots last week. Went in there a couple times. And looking forward to getting something going. Either way, I'm still going to eat there. I mean, just because they sponsor the podcast didn't mean I was lying about that I love Mr. Spots. I do. And for those of you who closely followed me, you know that there was last year and things happened, and my job was eliminated with FanRag, and then I had to take another job. It was a desk job. I hated it. Worked in an office. Blah 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 blah. So I wasn't sure if I was gonna make a return back to sports writing. So, and I don't think that they were either. So I think probably toward basketball season. But either way, I'm sure I can arrange something. With a former player, go there, eat some food, and do a live stream and have you guys ask questions, like we did last year with Matt Godin and Eric Magnuson. Alan Pinkney says, same foot or different foot for Tarik? This time it's the right foot, Alan. Last year it was left foot. Very similar injury, fracture. OG Doback says, opposite foot, no timetable return yet per Harbaugh. That is correct. And after this, everybody, we're going to go watch OG Dale Doback stream because he's got the... Worded like a true reporter, OG Dale. Good job. Derek Cushman, how long is Tarik got? Yeah, no definite timetable. Jay Mays 2 says, hey Biggs, just got in. Jay Mays, how's it going? K Bagley says, thanks man, go blue. Sam Wilson, who on Notre Dame's team will give us the most problems? It is easily Brandon Wimbush. R-Word 616, any wideouts not named Collins, Jones, Grant, or Martin going to get some tick with blackout? Nate Schonley, I think, maybe Ronnie Bell, the freshman. I mean, by the sound of it, Jim Harbaugh said today that there was, trying to remember exactly, real, tangible, and I'm not directly quoting him, but real, and he used the word tangible, evidence of improvement throughout the wide receiver group. And everybody has said that across the board. There hasn't been any hints like, okay, well, this guy's coming along or trying to get going. It's everybody is doing well. Which is, I mean, you can look at it like, okay, well, they're just saying that because it's camp, but this camp does feel different. They do have a different attitude. I'll say that. And this is my 7th season covering Michigan. This will be my 5th as a full-time beat writer. The first 2 were kind of freelance for Bleacher Report. And I will say this, based on what I've seen in the past, they do just seem to have a different attitude. It's a little bit different. It kind of reminds me a little bit of when they were going into the 16 season, honestly. Zach H. say, my sources say Shea Patterson is hurt. Who's your source? Alan Pinkney, will Oliver get more playing time at slot or receiver? I'm going to guess slot. Eric 313, Nate Schonley is hurt. Where are you hearing that, Eric? And again, guys, I know stuff comes up on message boards, and this was actually a topic yesterday. I'm getting off topic, or a couple days ago, some people were tweeting at Angelique. And I'm sure you guys know who Angelique is, read her stuff. She's really good. And we have to operate under different guidelines. Okay, we hear stuff just like everybody else does. And, I do a lot of confirming. I mean, there's no other way to, but messaging and trying to get, talking to different people rather than just tweeting it. I understand. I mean, if Schonley's hurt, I don't know about it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I do. Same with Shea. If Shea's hurt, I don't know about it. We just saw him the other day. He looked perfectly fine to me. Mike Sobrowski says Nick Eubanks is built to play wide receiver as well. Yeah, Nick can do that. Terry Walton says Nico Collins has to step up. Also Oliver Martin. This is that time. Tight ends can step up too. I mean, absolutely. And I mean, when you have Sean McCune, Zach Gentry. I mean, Zach Gentry is a physical mismatch for anybody, especially as a tight end. And Tarik Kinnell was talking about that today. Deestrin 21 says Julio Jones had a foot injury throughout his career, so this could be looked at. And yeah, it affect him, but he could still have a good career. That's a great point, Deestrin 21. Alan Pinkney says, Sam, I grew up with Karan and played football with him. Bud, know him all his life. Oh, Alan, you know Karan Higdon. Wes Weber says, who is a better interview, Ben Mason or Chase Winovich? Wes, that's 1 and 2, man. I mean, it depends. It depends. Because Chase will go, if you want a football interview, then Ben Mason. If you want, talk about some other stuff, then that's Chase Winovich. I mean, Chase will go out and talk about different kind of topics. Ben is very humorous in his own way. It's just a different type. So I guess it's what you prefer. Cody Boyle says Cron over 100 versus Notre Dame. I don't know if we're going to see a 100-yard rusher. I think this is going to be defense. Defense. Brian Laguerre says, Sam Webb says Nico has been the best receiver in camp. I've heard similar. He had a very good camp, and so did Oliver Martin. Colin Bell, is Gentry bigger than Gronk? Let's see. Because Gentry is 6'7", 6'8", 263.2 pounds. Gronk's 6'6", 265. So we're pretty close. We're pretty close there. Mike Zabrowski says, not worried about the loss as much as I was initially. Very sad for the kid, but this is football, and Michigan football at that. Want to be the best, got to beat the best. Injuries are part of the game. I mean, you can sum it up like that. I mean, it's unfortunate. There's no other way to say it. Eric313 says, Nico is a massive human. Saw him live yesterday and very impressed. He's done very well in camp. Anase Salah, let me know if I said that right. As a Ohio State fan, y'all finally got a good quarterback. Alan Pinckney says, Michigan over 30 points a game. Well, I mean, that's where we're looking. Those are what? 2016 numbers, right? I don't know. We'll see. It's got a similar feeling to 16 to me. Terry Walton says, I think Chris Evans will explode versus the Irish. Our defense will win us the game. I do think it's going to be a defensive battle. And we'll get in more into the Notre Dame personnel preview later in the week. And that'll be kind of how it goes throughout the season. Monday, we'll recap any lingering issues from that prior weekend, the Jim Harbaugh's availability, and what we talked about with players. And then I think probably Wednesday morning we'll have a stream. And then probably Friday, again before noon Eastern time. And then one on Saturday recapping the game. Or if it's a night game like the Notre Dame game, that one will probably come Sunday morning. So that's the tentative schedule, guys. Wes Weber, Adam, State or Michigan, who has a better final record? Michigan's got a really hard schedule, Wes. I think Michigan State is a 10-win team. I think it's easier for me to predict 10 wins for Michigan State than it is for Michigan. So 10-2 for Michigan State, 9-3 for Michigan. Cody Boyle says, what do you think of having two junior captains? And guys, I'll have a column on this tonight. I mean, when's the last time Michigan named any junior a captain, for one? Two, there is a new sense of ownership over this team. These guys are locked in. Devin Bush told me about a players-only meeting before camp. He told me about they kind of did something similar after the Outback Bowl. And from a defensive standpoint, looking at the loss of Mo Hurst and his leadership, looking at the loss of Mike McCray and his leadership. So be sure to check that out tonight on GreatLakesDivide.com, at GL Divide on Twitter and Facebook. Our word 61. Oh, hold on. Kevin Grulick says, I heard there was a rumor that Rashawn Gary got injured, but I think it's fake. Kevin, I tweeted this over the weekend. Injured is the wrong word. It's a shoulder ding, and I likened it earlier. I don't know if you were watching. It's like, okay, you're walking in your living room or whatever. You hit your elbow on the corner of the door. You hit your knee on the corner. It's a ding. Injury, I'm thinking, a tear, a break, dislocation, that sort of stuff. Even a strain or a sprain. But I have confirmed through an ironclad source, and that's why I tweeted it, that he'll be fine with treatment. It's not major. It's not an injury. Wes Weber Jr. says, am I concerned about no offensive coordinator? I mean, I think it's kind of weird not have one labeled, but I mean, if you look at just what Michigan has as a whole, I mean, you have Jim Harbaugh. He'll have the final say in play calling, regardless, even if they had an offensive coordinator. I think it's going to be kind of a meeting of a minds type of thing with Harbaugh and McElwain. Sharon Moore, Ed Warner, who's an offensive line coach, Jay Harbaugh as the running backs coach, Sharon with the tight ends. I think it's just going to be kind of a joint effort. Pep Hamilton, assistant head coach. I'm imagining that Jim, Pep, Harbaugh, Hamilton, McElwain, I think will probably, if I had to guess, if I have to think who's going to have the most discussion, who's going to have the most say, I'm thinking that. Aaron's Quinny says, gotta say, I'm kind of happy Mike McCray's gone. Huge liability in pass game. I don't know. Mike was pretty solid. Samantha Day says, I'm sure they already have figured it out. Alan Pinkney says, got to follow you on Twitter. What's your Twitter handle? OG Delback says, at Adam Biggers 81, which is correct. At Adam Biggers 81. Mike Zabrowski says, when are we submitting our score predictions for bragging rights? Adam, Mike's been watching. And we also do that on Friday. I used to give away a free Mr. Spot sandwich. I'll work on that. But we can still play the game. And whoever's closest gets their bragging rights. And they get to tell me all week that their prediction was better than mine. All right, guys, we're going on 27 minutes. Any other questions, concerns? MIC book. Who's the most important lineman offensively in this Notre Dame game? You know what? It's like part of me wants to say it's Ben Bredesen and Juwan Bushell-Beatty on the left side. Part of me wants to look at the right side too with Mike Onwenu. Or John Runyon, rather, at left tackle. And then part of me wants to say Mike Onwenu and Juwan Bushell-Beatty on the right side, with Mike being the guard. I don't know. The whole line's going to be important. I mean, really. I mean, to pinpoint one, we'll go with two because they're both leaders of the offensive line. Ben Bredesen's a captain, but I think Ben and Caesar are going to be very important because they're going to essentially be directing traffic. Cody Boyles, am I a Michigan fan or I just cover Michigan? I just cover Michigan. Four Masterful says, I don't know much about Notre Dame. Who are their threats as far as skill positions? Four Masterfuls will dive into a full personnel preview later this week. The Monday streams, I want to keep it limited to the availability with Jim Harbaugh and the players that we talked about, and then anything else, that we were thinking about throughout the weekend, the previous game. So. Aaron's Quinny says, Tarik Hours, Donovan Peoples-Jones ready to be the big play guy. Unimpressed last year, to be honest. What were you unimpressed about? I thought Donovan had a pretty good year for a true freshman. Yeah, there was the waving thing with the punts. I think overall, I think DPJ had it's easier to call him DPJ. I think the DPJ had a pretty decent year for a true freshman. Are you going to all the games? I'll be at Wisconsin. Alan Pinkney says, yes, I'll be at all the games. Road games, home games, bowl game. With Tarik out, heard Notre Dame is favorite by 1. You think that's accurate? J Mays 2 asked. I haven't checked it. Last I knew, the last one, and I checked this like a week and a half ago, was Notre Dame by 3, and then 3.5 on another site. Someone said they saw Michigan by 3. I mean, this is going to be a close game, defensive battle, a field goal. Maybe, 21-17, so 4 points. But I'm thinking 2017, 21-17. Four Masterfuls, is True Wilson looking like the third running back? According to what I talked with Jay Harbaugh, and that was a couple weeks ago, yes, that's what it sounds like, that True will be the third running back. I know people were talking a little bit about Christian Turner. He is injured. But other than that, I don't know. That's my best guess. And I don't think you really have to look too much beyond Chris Evans and Karan Higdon and then Ben Mason at fullback for the run game, honestly. MIC Book wants to know any news on Quinn Nordine. Heard he was struggling maybe. I don't have any news on him. And where are you guys hearing this? Again, it's it's easy. It's easier to read it and then tell me like, hey, I heard this from somewhere. But if in my position and other people who cover Michigan responsibly, um, we work to try to confirm that stuff. Just like with the Tarik Black thing, an initial, and I'd say reports and quote that he's 100% out for the year, and I mean it's like you got to do some homework, and instead of just throwing something up against the wall and seeing if it sticks. So that I mean I do my homework. For Masterfuls, does Michigan have any alternates this year? Not that I know. Eric Learn says just tuning in. Eric, that is unfortunate because we're going on 31 minutes. Usually I go at least 45, but I am going to cap this today, guys, because I want to write this column, and I have some other things to do in preparation this week for travel to Notre Dame. But I appreciate you joining, Eric. Nayan 20, is it set that Ruiz will start at center? I believe so. Aaron's Quinny says, I bet Kakoa and McDoom feel dumb now. I mean, this would certainly be an opportunity for those guys, right? An injury can happen to anybody, anytime, any team. OG Dale Doback says, is Metella started to start with Kindle at safety, or is that battle ongoing? Yeah, I believe it's Josh and Tarik. Samantha Day, do you think we beat Ohio State this year? I get this question all the time, Samantha, and I mean, I'm not trying to brush it off, but hold on, what was that about Nordine, and you heard on what? Well then, if anything that comes from that source, I'm not even going to address it, guys. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but I don't want to engage in that. I've already heard too much of, talk from over there. So you guys know who really covers Michigan and who's really there and who's really working to confirm. And there's a lot of other people, and so that do really good jobs. So anything that comes from that outlet or that person, I'm just not gonna. I just don't want to address it anymore. I really don't. But I agree with what you guys are saying. For Masterfuls, okay, back to the Ohio State game. Yeah, way too early to predict. I mean, if I give an early prediction, I'm going to base it on history, Samantha. Michigan's beaten Ohio State 3 times since 2000. So do I think that's going to change this year? History does not suggest that. Although Ohio State has won 6 in a row, Ohio State's never beaten Michigan 7 times in a row. That was a little stat that I dug up a few weeks ago I was researching. So if you want to be on the glass half full side, Ohio State has never beaten Michigan 7 times in a row. Therefore, history has to change, right? For Masterful says, AB with the fun facts. That's what I'm here for. And it's Throwback Monday, guys. I don't know if I don't do Throwback Thursday. I don't know what that is. It's Throwback Monday today. If you guys watched in the past the Sports in the Mitten podcast, which was exactly the same as this. I just changed the name, but I still kept the shirt because it's comfortable. Alan Pinckney says, how good of a duo is Ruiz and Shea since they played high school ball together? They know each other very well. They've talked about that a little bit. And again, I'll go back to the question I asked Ben Bredesen about how far along are you guys in terms of line of communication? Just, knowing each other, getting comfortable. It's all about rhythm, right? And he said I don't know exactly what he said, but they're far advanced at this time right now than even what they were last year with Wilton Speight. So if, Wilton was a pretty good quarterback for Michigan. If Shea's already at that level with communication and the offensive line has improved, then I think that a 10-win season could be possible. That's my ceiling, 10-2, and that's if Shea is as advertised. Let me spit that out. Is as advertised. And if the O-line has really improved. And Ben Bredesen is sick of the narrative about the offensive line. And he was pretty honest about that today. And he said, basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, they really have improved. And I think they're sick of hearing, okay, well, we'll wait and see. So, for Masterfuls, is Coach Brown's team happy with whoever's placing Mike McCray, which will be Devin Gill? And the answer is yes. And Josh Ross. Josh Ross is behind Devin. And he's been cross-training at Mike and Will. Cody Voyle says, how much better is Shea than Harbaugh's quarterbacks at Michigan so far? Well, that remains to be seen. But, Cody, I will say this. Harbaugh has never picked the wrong guy, right? Rudock got here, had a great season, second most passing yards for a single season in Michigan history, and he had the highest completion percentage of anybody on that list. Another fun fact for Masterfuls. Sometimes I go into like research geek mode and I just look up stats and read. And I hate reading, which is funny because I'm a writer. So I trick myself and I don't call it reading, I call it research. It's research. If you hate reading, try that trick. You're not reading, you're researching. Samantha says we're not going to lose to Ohio State. Well, if you want to go with the little historical tidbit, Ohio State's never won 7 times in a row, then I'm with you on that. But if you want to look at that Ohio State's a college football playoff contender, legit, a favorite to win the Big Ten, and has only lost 3 times to Michigan since the turn of the century, then you got to lean to no. Sherwoody14 says, I didn't watch the practice, not sure it's available, but did they show anything worth noting on the depth chart? What depth chart? Come on, man. A depth chart? You think we get a depth chart? We got to beg for that. I didn't go because there was no media access and it would be sitting in the stands. I thought about it. I just, it's free. Who doesn't want to see free football? You get to go to the big house. But I didn't go. I had things to do, again, because, like I mentioned at the top of the live stream, big news coming for the website, the live stream, everything that's involved with myself, Great Lakes Divide, and my partner, Ryan Schuling. Massive announcement. Very excited. So, I don't know. I kind of went off on a tangent right there. That's why I wasn't at the practice, because I'm doing all this other behind-the-scenes work. Let me gather my thoughts here. All right, guys, a couple more questions, and then I do have to go because we are going on 38 minutes. I'm going to pick one. I'm cherry picking here. OG Dale Dobeck says, I think we would have to do more than begging to get a depth chart. We try, man. We try. You got to be like Rutgers and publicly complain. There's no depth chart. We need a roster. Devin Taylor says, hey, Adam, sorry I'm late. Can you see any wideout having a big season under the radar? Hey, Devin, since you're late, I'll answer this one, and you'll be one of the final ones. Does it have to be a wide receiver, or could it be a tight end? If specifically a wide receiver, I think Grant Perry's going to have a big year. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones is in line to have a big year. I think Nico Collins and Oliver Martin, it's not just talk when they're talking about the wide receivers. I do believe that they've gotten better. And like I said, the vibe that I get from these guys is different than last year. They don't want, and I'll have this in my column, they don't want to be known last year as a team of coulda, shoulda, woulda, They don't want to be known as that. They want to accomplish. They don't want to, well, we could have done this. We had the talent to do this. What if this didn't happen? And absolutely, the question about Gentry and McCune, they were already going to be big parts of the offense either way. For Masterful says, when will you announce the good news? Probably tonight or maybe tomorrow. So, or I might do it during tomorrow's live stream. But if you could see the look on my face, try to smile here. Comments are my way. Let me see. It's pretty good news. I'm very happy. Couldn't be happier. You ever felt like you're in total control and everything's going your way? That's how I feel right now. Brandon Gamble says, do you think Dylan McCaffrey will ever start for Michigan? Yes, I do. I do think Dylan will. I like Dylan. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. I've been talking about, I remember watching him in warm-ups last year. I mean, he throws a really nice ball. For Masterful says, please tell me you got a podcast. There is a podcast. Yes. And it says, where'd you read that? Because I will respond to that. And good. Nayan 20. I figured that was happening. And it should happen. You got to be responsible. YouTube says, could they put them in the slot? Who are you talking about? Grant Perry or Oliver? DPJ? Nyan20 says Twitter, I forgot who. If you see that, tweet it to me, at AdamBiggers81. I'm interested in that. And guys, if you know the history about that outlet, there was already some really shady stuff that went on with his former business partner. And I mean, this does not come as a surprise at all. So, McCune in the slot? I mean, not as a slot. I mean, if they choose to run like a two tight end set. But I mean, McCune is like a direct. Am I understanding you right? I mean, Grant Perry is a slot guy. DPJ is a slot guy. Sean McCune's a tight end. But line him up in the slot? Okay. For Masterful says, I'm hearing good things about the Bell kid. And it's all true. For Masterfuls. All true. And I'm going to go real quick because we've talked about him a little bit and he's been brought up. I'm going to read his bio off MGO Blue really fast. So that way. Ronnie Bell, true freshman out of Kansas City, Missouri, Park Hill High School. He's 6 foot, 182 pounds. Caught 159 passes for 2,476 yards, 15.6 yards per, and scored 31 receiving touchdowns during his high school career. Lists top 3 Missouri State history in receptions, yards, and touchdowns with NFL players Dorial Green Beckham and Jeremy Maclin. Jeremy was the man at Mizzou. Returned 33 kickoffs for 808 yards and had 65 punt returns for 665 yards with 1 touchdown. Hauled in 89 receptions for 1,605 yards. That's 18 per. And 21 touchdowns as a senior. Also carried the ball 15 times for 163 yards and scored 3 touchdowns. So maybe Ronnie Bell is the answer to Eddie McDoom's departure when it comes to the, getting a little fancy with an end around. Final question. And Drew Fortier. Samantha Day. Hurry up offense this year? No, I don't think so. Pro style. It'll be spread out a little bit, but give you a condensed answer. No. Drew Fortier says, how does Higdon fare as pass catcher? I think Chris Evans could be a huge asset in quick passing game with Shea. I like Evans. I like Chris better as a pass catcher. Karan can catch the ball, though. Don't be mistaken here. Karan's a dangerous threat in that regard too, but Chris in space, I think, is the clear threat. Absolutely. Samantha Day says Bush is a beast. He is. And he's no longer, I don't think it's the dread mullet anymore. He was wearing a hat today. I don't know if it was the dread mullet. Watch the video. It's on this YouTube channel. And guys, we're over 1,100 subscribers now. So we were talking like last week about hitting 1,000 subscribers. And before, around when I got back, active on YouTube for Big Time Media Days, July 23rd and 24th, I was at 887. So now it's like at 1115 or something like that. So thanks, a lot of new subscribers. And of course, I appreciate all you old heads who've been watching since last year and coming in. So for Masterful said, I like this. He says, no, McDoom means no more fade routes to a wide receiver under 6 foot tall. We're ending it on that. Salute to four masterfuls, everybody. Hey, I'm Adam Biggers. Thanks again for watching the Great Lakes Divide live stream here on my YouTube channel. Follow Great Lakes Divide on Twitter at GL Divide. Follow on Facebook at GL Divide. Follow me at Adam Biggers 81. I'm covering up the comments because this really is the close, guys. We're going on 40. We can't get out of here in less than 45 minutes, no matter how hard I try. So didn't mean to rush, but I do have some things today. Catch my latest on Tarik Black. I tweeted it. The link is way up here in the chat, the chat box, whatever we're calling it right there. It's way up there in the chat. It's on my Twitter again at AdamBiggers81, and it's on GreatLakesDivide.com. And I'll have a column coming up tonight on Michigan's new sense of ownership. And I talked to asked a lot of questions to Devin Bush about this, and to Ben Bredesen about this, and Tarik Canal. So Kinnell, I call him Kinnell. We got clarification on that. It's Kinnell, but Canal just lingers in my mind for some reason. So anyway, speaking of lingering, I'm lingering here. I'm gonna let you guys get back to your day. Thanks a lot for joining me. I'm Adam. This is Great Lakes Divide, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow evening. It's an early player availability on Tuesday due to the start of school. Player availabilities on Tuesday will be at night as usual. But tomorrow's the Big Ten conference call as well, so it'll be a busy day. Lots to talk about tomorrow with Jim Harbaugh hopping on that call. And I know that we're getting Zach Gentry, who else? Karan Higdon, and I think that's it. So I can tell you that because they told us all out in public today. So anyway, have a good rest of your Monday. Read my stuff. And hold on. Samantha Day says, Desmond said we're winning it all this year. Desmond Howard said that? All right. Samantha, appreciate your questions. Everybody, thanks again for watching. And I'll catch you guys Tuesday evening. Roughly, I'm thinking probably the same time, 5 o'clock Eastern. So have a good one. Thanks.